here. This was my question also, whether we were recording this webinar. So hello, it's nice to see everybody. A few faces are started to appear. So hello, Jose. Dr. Imad. Great. The more faces we have, the better we have a sense of connection here. So this call is about community. And this is exactly how I wanted to introduce this idea of the webinar, of the e-learning courses on the platform. Is we are really a community of practitioners. Each person is working separately in their own context, in their own environment. And then the question is, how do we join together to create a community? So that's really the core idea which has sparked us to create the e-learning courses that you can see now on the platform. The idea that we do not need to reinvent the wheel. You know, if you know this expression, is like sometimes you are faced with a challenge and you're trying to come up with a solution, and you find your own way to do it. And then someone else who doesn't know about you is faced with the same challenge. And so maybe they repeat the same process of thought. And how do we do to kind of shorten this so that in the Mediterranean countries, we have a common basis of knowledge, that we do not have to reinvent the wheel every time. So that's the basic idea that has sparked us to basically collect a lot of materials. So Ruben, who is here, my colleague, who will talk in a second to introduce you, has taken this daunting, I would say, task to collect all this material from very different people, all doing projects, reports, articles, videos, images, a lot of different reports and different, PowerPoint presentation, training here and there. So a lot of very diverse material, and that we have taken together to try and organize and then write down in a series of easily digestible material. So that's basically the result of these e-learning courses. Okay, so that's a little bit of a general introduction to the courses. I'm going to pass now the floor to Ruben, who is going to explain a little bit more about what the courses look like, and then give the floor to each of you to have a bit of a conversation about the topics. So Ruben.
Thank you, Cecile, and great to be here.
Okay, Ruben, please, I would like to ask Lorenzo if you have to leave now, or Ruben can complete his introduction. Lorenzo.
Yes, sure. Ruben can introduce, and then I can.
Okay, thank you. So you have time. Thank you. Sorry for this.
Thank you. By my side, just very briefly, I was going to show you just more in practical terms how can you access to the course, so that the people who is watching this this meeting can easily know. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to share my screen just for 3 minutes, and so that you will see that as Cecile was explaining, a great work has been done of compiling a lot of materials, and all of this has been developed in a 5-module course. So, and it's very easy to find if you just type on Google the name of the platform, so Mediterranean Lab for Co-Production and Social Innovation Courses. You will very easily find in the first links that you will be redirected to the Mediterranean Lab for Co-Production and Social Innovation platform. And if you click on courses, you will find first the first courses that were developed, so the Phoenix journey. But if you go here, you will find with this Phoenix symbol, you will find the MedRiSSE course. So by clicking on each of them, you will access to each course. In that case, for example, we have how to develop local ecosystem of social and solidarity economy based on CITES methodology. Later, we will have our different speakers talking about the different projects that we have. Here you will see a introduction to the course, a video where you will listen to Cecile very clearly explaining what the course is about. Here you have the course content, and you can go through it just clicking in the different parts of the course. And then for each course, you have the possibility to get a certificate that it also says how many hours each course has taken and all of this. So once you have gone through the whole course, you have the possibility to make a quiz. So in this quiz, you will really need to prove and to show that you have learned the key and that you have understand the key concepts of the course. And no worries, because if you don't pass the quiz the first time, you will have the possibility to repeat it. So once you have finished the course, you will have the possibility to download a certificate that will be a PDF document, and you will have the certificate for the course. So that was the main thing I wanted to share with you. And now I will open the floor again and maybe give again the word to you, Fadia, or I can introduce our next speaker.
Yes, thank you, Ruben and Cecily, for this introduction. Now I will give the floor to Lorenzo Paoli from Oxfam, Italy, a knowledge manager, to talk about one of the first main course, support to social business startup on scaling up and the publication, a case of MedRiSSE project. The floor is you, Lorenzo.
Thank you so much, Fadia. I prepared a few slides just to facilitate the presentation. I kindly ask you to confirm if you are able to see it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So first of all, thank you again to Ruben and Cecile for the work that has been done, but also to An-Najah University for organizing and to promote this webinar. My name is Lorenzo Paoli, and I work as head of program quality in Oxfam. I'm based in Italy. The project, the e-learning course that we prepare and we prepare has been based on the experience of the MedRiSSE project that is funded by European Union and has been led by Oxfam in cooperation with other Mediterranean partners and European partners. And is mainly focused on the support to social business as a startup for scaling up and replication. So the purpose of this course is to assist organizations and individuals who work to help social enterprises pre-start through to scale up social ventures. For sure, it includes topic, resources, and idea to support social entrepreneurs in their journey and to achieve the purpose of their mission and their vision. The main contents of this e-learning course is based on, first of all, to introduce the concept of social enterprises and social business, generally speaking. And so we focus on the idea to clarify what does it mean, social business and the startup within the social business, but also what are the different types of social ventures that can be found. The second part of the course is focused to understand and to focus on the needs of social enterprises, especially in terms of which are the key journey stages that must be faced from the social enterprises and for social entrepreneurs in particular, and the other topic that has been faced in this part of the course is focused on which are the typical barriers experienced by social ventures at each stage of their journey. Another part of the course is focused on the type of support that social entrepreneurs need to develop their business. So clarify what they do, including the values and the principles that this type of support organization have been to ensure in order to support social entrepreneurs in their daily work. Another course that you can find within the learning module is related to developing a support program for social entrepreneurs. So focuses on which stage of program development the business is introducing. So identify the identification and the design, as well the fundraising, the outreach strategy, and so on. And for each of these stages, we thought that was important to create several relevant questions to raise at every stage of the program development in order to tracking the proper development and to understand if they are on track in the different stage. The last component of the contents of the e-learning course probably has other courses that are included within the MedRiSSE platform, are related to provide to all the people that are interested the main case studies and some useful resources that can the people that are interested to focus on this topic can use, has materials, has case studies, has reference document and materials that they can use for the proper understanding of the content of the project. So this type of course is mainly addressed for not only for social entrepreneurs or that they are interested to focus on these issues, but also at the same time for the practitioner that want to understand a little bit better the type of support that can be provided to the development of social business. That's all from my side. Happy learning. And I leave the floor to Fadia, or open the discussion if you need any type of clarification or information from my side.
Yes, thank you, Lorenzo. Yes, I want to ask if anyone have any questions or any comments to what have Lorenzo just presented, as he will leave in short duration. Anyone want to ask Lorenzo any question and have any comments? Okay.
If no one has question, I can make a very brief question. I just would ask you, because I can't help but ask, with such an interesting content that you have presented, what could you tell us about your experience in MedUp and in promoting social entrepreneurship? I mean, what key advice would you give to those who are now considering launching some similar initiative? Like what could you say about the main challenge that you have found in the micro and macro level? Could you share at least some key advices in that sense?
Well, my basic, thank you, Ruben, for breaking ice and also for your question. The main learnings that we capture from the MedUp experience, it is that, well, MedUp experience and also this course raised from the experience to bring together 6 different countries around the MENA region, plus the European experience. So be driven by the context. For me, it's the main key learnings that we capture, especially when we talk to the design of toolkits and other learning materials. So be driven by the needs of the different contexts is quite relevant. So this course try to adapt and to build some learnings that can be adapted to the different contexts. So especially when we talk about social business, the needs of the different contexts must be driven the learning journey, and also the implementation of the business too. So this is my experience. The second learnings that I have that I would like to share, it's also reflected in the course, in the sense that we try not only to focus on the business, that it's quite relevant in terms of technical assistance, financial assistance, and so on, but also it's relevant the ecosystem, what we call ecosystem, not only ourselves, but also many other practitioner and academic sector calls ecosystem. So it is not only a matter to provide technical assistance to the single business, that's for sure it's important, but we must create the condition in order to promote and to develop the sector, generally speaking. So many other stakeholders must be engaged, and we try to focus also in terms of support that social business needs to develop their activities. This is just briefly. I don't know if it is clear my question and makes sense also for you and the other colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you. Perfect.
Sorry, I try to be very, I apologize. I know that there are many other people that want to speak and have to present their experience. So I try to be very focused and brief in my explanation. But if it is not clear, I'm more than available and then to have also bilateral conversation and leave my emails or contacts to have bilateral conversation on these topics.
Many thanks, Lorenzo. And you can share your presentation by chat here also.
Absolutely, yes. I will
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you.
Dr. Samah, you raise your hand or?
No.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any other question?
Maybe I can ask Lorenzo, if you took into account in your course the difference of content and environment in each of Mediterranean country. I mean, the conditions and the environment for social business, it's not the same between South and North. You took these issues into your considerations when you prepared the course?
Thank you, Professor Imad, for this clarification. We manage this issue, the different contexts, considering the relevance of this element in two different aspects. The first aspect, it is related to include several tools that raise from different contexts. The second element is to include in the course also some case studies that can be showcase how the different contents of the course can be applied in the different contexts. So as you can imagine, it is not easy to create a course that can be adapted to the different context, especially because it's an e-learning course, so we must manage also this component to be remotely connected. So we decided to bring and to share more practical experience in terms of toolkit and in terms of case studies that raise from the different contexts within an overall framework that we thought can be adapted to the different contexts.
Thank you.
This is the way how we decided to manage this complexity, because we thought that case studies can facilitate this the landing of overall concept that must be adapted to the different contexts. And
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you, Dr. Imad. Then we will go through the agenda. Now we will introduce the second course. Our partner from Tunis, TCSE, Ayman Bouazizi, a communication and marketing manager, will introduce to us how to develop a local ecosystem of SSE based on CTESS methodology. The floor is you, Ayman.
Thank you so much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ayman Bouazizi, the program manager at TCSE. I'm replacing my colleague Husn Wujud Borski, the communication manager. She's not here for family emergency. Okay, today we are going to talk about CTS and how it was started exactly and what's the aim behind the CTS approach. And I want to thank everyone who are working on developing the website, because nowadays, like, we need these kind of courses because like to showcase like practical case study and to bring them on one platform for like a huge target of the community, wherever to dedicated to the northern or southern neighborhood countries. I really appreciate this approach. Okay, we are going to talk about CTS. CTS went back to 2013 in Tunisia, and this initiative was started by CSE at the first place. And it was started in Mahdia, which is a city based in the coastal line of Tunisia. The initiative started by what we call here in Tunisia connectors and networkers. So basically, this approach started by grassroots work. It wasn't like structured and legalized. So it was like led by social innovators and social advocates at that time. And it was led by many persons here in Tunisia, like our president Asma Mansour, and for example, a lot of coaches based in Mahdia, like Mohamed Ghashem, which is working with us right now, and Madame Heles Fay, which is like a university professor. So the aim of this approach is like to provide a whole platform that connects social entrepreneurs in the region to the public institution, to the investors, and to the civil society support organizations. So CTS, platform, is localized in the middle of the whole ecosystem actors. And the main services of CTS platform is the training, the coaching, and the advocacy by connecting all the ecosystem actors and making it advocacy and lobbying, and also working on public policy briefs and recommendation for law reforms. So here we are talking about a huge dynamic that started in 2013, and because of the reason of social justice and asking for opportunities for jobs. And these two reasons or causes were raised in 2011 during the revolution of Tunisia. So I'm talking about these facts because I need to connect that every dynamic in the community needs to be based on a certain reason and on a certain aim. And after that, after starting by grassroots work, we started working closely with public institutions like API, which is in French, Agence de Promotion de l'Industrie et d'Innovation, l'APIA, Agence de Promotion des Investissements Agricoles, Espace Entreprendre. At that time in 2015, the first initiative went out from this platform called Cherkin, which is a competition about social innovation. Then when this competition stood up to the community, like a whole momentum was created at the region in Mahdia, and a lot of actors started discussing and what's happening here and how we can sit at the same table and discuss the issue of the ecosystem and collaborate together to address these issues. And here I want to highlight the role of dialogue and to bring the whole actors together and discuss the main issues in the region. And after that, the dynamics start being massive, and all the actors in the region start collaborating from their sides. And here I want to explain a little bit the CITES approach, which means la cité de l'économie sociale et solidaire, city of the social and solidarity economy. And here we are going to focus on social entrepreneur at the first place, and we are going to provide him with different services coming from different actors. Like, for example, in Mahdia, we have incubators, we have accelerators, we have structures, financial structures, we have academia, and we started discussing and asking the question, which part with which part we can contribute. I mean, here the faculties, the universities, the institutions, what's the collaboration of this structure, the financial institutions, the incubators, the civil society organization, and we start collaborating and doing brainstorming about initiatives, about programs that support social entrepreneurship. And after that, we dig out kind of action plan based on access. And after that, we decided to start calling social entrepreneurs that working informally, because they were working informally in Mahdia, but the dynamic exists. So we start to bring closely to the civil society organization, to the public institution, and we are inviting them to collaborate with these structures and to shape out their initiatives and to measure the real impact of their enterprise or initiatives. And after that, after creating this dynamic, a whole organization was created in 2017 called CITES Mahdia, led by its president called Hala Sfahi. And after that, a formal structure was created and dedicated to support social entrepreneurs there in Mahdia. And after succeeding in creation this organization, we start planning to replicate this initiative in other regions in Tunisia, like in Sidi Bouzid, in Jandouba, and in Qayrawin. And here also I want to underline the methodology of co-production and also the methodology of the replication of this success methodology, because after the revolution, we were seeking how to build a consistent and a solid ecosystem that supports social entrepreneurs. We succeed in doing that, but now we are facing kind of huge risk, which is the legal framework of social and solidarity economy in Tunisia, because we don't have a legal status called a social entrepreneur in Tunisia. We were advocating for that. We did a huge lobby through the intermediaries, parties, the political parties, the civil society organization and staff. And in the past parliament, we approved the law to support social and solidarity economy, but now everything disappeared because of the new constitution and the new regime in Tunisia, unfortunately. So here we are facing, as I mentioned, a huge risk, because after all, when we started like a new approach or a new dynamic, we started from grassroots work, then we go to more structured and formalized organizations or ecosystem. Then we need to protect and to support the ecosystem with a legal framework. Because even when we talk about investors and like collaborators from outside the country who are going to support or to collaborate with us, they need this kind of framework to intervene in the country and to collaborate closely with the ecosystem in generally. Like talking, when we talk about the ecosystem, we are talking about its different like level of intervention. I mean, in terms of raising awareness, the nano level, in terms of micro level, focusing on the social entrepreneurs, in terms of supporting organization at the meso level, or in terms of public policies when we are talking about public institutions. So I think this is the risk behind the CITES methodology. The experience in Tunisia was successful, but we need like to support it, we need to replicate it, and we need to share it with you guys, and for learning exchange, for like maybe we can open up a little bit the doors for new opportunities or collaboration and stuff, because we know that there is a difference between the ecosystems in Europe or the Southern Mediterranean countries, but there is huge sources of learnings and good practices. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Ayman. Thank you so much for your summarizing of the course and the experience of IESS project in Tunisia. Thank you so much. So we will leave the question to the end of the webinar. Georgia, do you have any comments, or as you are raising? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I don't have any question as such, Fadia, but if you just permit me one small remark related to the courses, because this is also related to Dr. Imad's question earlier to Lorenzo about how to consider the different contexts in the different countries. And so your intervention, Ayman, has really demonstrated this, that the context, even in one country, can change. We're subject to changes of government and situation. And so in the courses, for this reason, what we have done is that we have not looked to give ready-made solutions, but transmit what we saw as a method of implementation, which is to say, for example, in the online courses, the e-learning courses for your topic, we have a lot of sections about self-assessment questions, suggested activities step by step. So what we have extracted is what type of question to ask yourself. And then for each context, the answer will be different. The method and the questions is what we can share, and the answer will differ even within one country from one moment to the next. So that was just a link between the different questions earlier and different experiences. Thank you.
Many thanks, Cecile, and I will give you the floor by the end of this webinar to summarize all these points. Thank you. And I will give the floor now to Tamader Akel, a project manager from PARC, one of our partners in Palestine, to introduce the course Fair Trade, Rural Internship and Women Empowerment as the experience of Raw-Made project. Dr. Tamader.
Thank you, Samah. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for An-Najah University for organizing this webinar. I'm going to talk about the third course on the website, which is Fair Trade, Women Empowerment, Rural Entrepreneurship. We had made a small presentation that will help us more to be more organized and giving you the right idea. So the name of the course is Fair Trade, Rural Entrepreneurship and Women Empowerment. I'm going to share my screen. I don't know if you can see my screen right now.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So the first slide, or the first, let's say, it's the course contain of 4 phases that explain the consume local, consume Palestine strategy in general, and have many components in there. So the first phase of the course, it's about fair trade. What is fair trade? The concept of fair trade. And the definition of fair trade, and the main pillars of fair trade, which is guarantee the fair wages and for the producer and for the workers working on the production activities, and it's environmentally friendly and contribute to sustainable development. The second slide is about fair trade and women empowerment, and the connection between fair trade and women empowerment. Fair trade organization include respect for women in their criteria and seek to empower women by addressing the inequalities that experience in their communities. It does seek to make a global economic structure more equitable through consumer choice and improved market access. One of the best practices that we have gained between BARC and ACPP strategy that working, let's say, since 2012, we have a mutual project started from the any project through MED. Then we have the GVA, Generalitat Valencia, until now. We have chain of the project summarized, or it has more accumulated experience about socioeconomic empowerment for women and rural entrepreneurship. And it's more related to one of the best practices, Consume Palestine strategy, that is explained very well in the course. The Consume Palestine strategy is a good social solidarity practices for economic practices. It provides integrated relationship between the public and the private sector, and a comprehensive intervention on both supply and demand sides. That we are going to explain more about this, and you can find more about in the course. The strategy originated from the any project, ROMED, that as I mentioned before, that was implemented by BARC, ACPP, CRTD from Lebanon, and other partners in 2012 until the 2016. The project aimed to empower rural Palestinian and Lebanese women economically and socially through capacity building program, input support, and product promotion. The same objective was further pursued in Palestine through various programs, sustainable, equitable, and fair, consume local, consume Palestine. It is other project that have been supported by the GVA, implemented by BARC ACPP, and it has like the aim of empower Palestinian rural women and enhance sustainability of rural products. Let's say the Consume Palestine strategy, I already mentioned that, so I'm not going to talk about it again. It started from 2012 until the present. And the strategy supports the Palestinian rural value chain by strengthening both supply and demand. And it has intervention on both, let's say, soft activities and hard activities, capacity building program and intervention with inputs to make a good quality of the production and safety. One of the successful model I was talking about, the ROMED project, and it is supporting and connecting rural women tradition know-how within the Mediterranean. The overall objective of this project was the promotion of women's socio-economic status in rural areas. Here are some of the pictures from the ROMED project that was like for BARC and ACPP. We were so proud about this project, because the connection and networking have been made between the Palestinian women, the Lebanese women, And the networking happened with the private sector in, let's say, in Spain, and participating in fair trade events in Spain. The output of consume local strategy, healthier and higher equality for rural products, legally registered consume Palestine seal, and this was in 2022. We have successfully registered a seal for the Palestinian products and rural products, increased the number of legally registered cooperative and having registered labels. I'm not going to mention these achievements because you can find it on the course, and it's better explanation. I'm talking about now the limitation and lesson learned from the consumer strategy, dealing with legal complements and complex bureaucracy, export barriers for rural products, changing in the mindset for the rural areas. And that's it. Thank you for listening. And I don't know if you have any questions. Or we can leave it in the end of the presentation, the webinar.
Yes, thank you, Tamader. Thank you so much for this interesting presentation. Yes, we will leave the question to the end of the webinar. And we will move to Dr. Samah Saleh from An-Najah National University, a social expert from An-Najah, to introduce the course Alliances with SSE for Employment and Education, a case of more than a job project. The floor is you, Dr. Samah.
So thank you for all the presentation and all the experiences you have shared with us. For me, I'm going to talk today about the alliances with SSEs for employment and education, and with focus on two case studies. One of them is more than a job. So this course presented a practical implementation method with key learning and suggestion for the development of the different phases of an alliance building process with the SSEs for employment and education, considering the key contextual determinant issues, the possible risks and strategies for facing the risk. For me, it was an opportunity and it was interesting to see how the different practices in more than a job were transformed to this kind of structure and knowledge. And it was kind of an educational session at some point. So what we can learn from this course to access to a practical method to enhance collaboration between SSEs and public administrations. We learned the key elements involved in the process, different phases of implementation, such as preparing the ground, implementing and ensuring sustainability in general. So this course is practical to guide us of strategies of how to build alliances between SSEs and public administration. It also helps to decide what are the appropriate actions in a specific context, and then it helps us to use effective strategies and how to adapt to our different contexts. So the course has many contexts, and it was interesting to see the self-assessment and different questions that make the person who take this course to try to connect with what they read and the practice they have or the experience they have. In the beginning, it was a kind of an introduction about the public-private collaboration and SSEs. And of course, we know from our experience in more than a job, there are many challenges in this kind of collaboration and how to bring the different actors together and start the dialogue and the conversation among them. And then there were some practical implementation methods, key elements of the process. And then it was kind of focusing on the different also the triggering factors, building on best practices and preparing the ground, implementation, designing and applying a sub-grant scheme, and sustainability, fostering sustainable public-private collaboration. So this was kind of each section can give an idea of how to do it and different suggestions. And of course, the self-assessment question within the course were kind of a reflection of what we have done. For me, it was because I was part of More Than a Job, of what we have done, and then to connect it in this self-assessment question, which kind of organized the idea and the concepts more going through the course. So also it was kind of giving a kind of the social context for the different aspect, the financial resource, the human capital, which was interesting to look into the human capital, because we usually forget about it whenever we talk about the best practices in such issues, and the networking and the data. For people who are not from this kind of field, or who are aiming to start this kind of alliances or collaborations, it's interesting for them to learn and to get ideas of how to establish this kind of dialogue from the two cases which were shared in the on the course itself. So this is kind of a general idea of my experience of taking this course and going through the different levels through this course. So yeah, I think I was asked to talk about the course, and this is what I have learned from this course. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Samah, for this summarizing of the case of More Than a Job course. And finally, I will give the floor to Qusay Robiris from ACPP, an SSE focal point from ACPP, the project coordinator, to talk about the co-production of public services and complementary services as the case of Midtown project. The floor is you, Qusay.
Thank you very much. And thank you for organizing this interesting seminar where we have access to so many educational resources, training resources. The course that I want to introduce, it's called Co-Production of Public Services and Complementary Currencies. In a way, it echoes some of the concepts that Dr. Samah was referring in her own presentation, because what it does is it offers an entry point to some ideas affecting how the quality of public services can be improved through the participation of people, communities in its design and its implementation. Through the course, we introduce a key concept. It's the concept of co-production. We feel this concept is important because often when ideas like public-private collaboration are brought to the table, well, these ideas are extremely broad and can fit many different approaches to the, let's say, the delivery of public services. It could easily imply privatizing the delivery of public services through the participation of companies in its implementation. Whereas co-production, which is a political science concept that exists since basically the 1970s, introduced a more nuanced idea, which is that by involving people in the decision making, by involving people in the design of public services, in its implementation, in its evaluation, you can effectively create better services. You can ensure that the quality of the services that public institutions and governments provide to the people are of a greater quality. And this is no small thing. I mean, this has to do ultimately with how do we in each of our societies progress towards more democratic, more participatory societies where everyone can fulfill their aspirations to live a decent life, enjoy a decent job, have access to quality services from the institutions that are supposed to serve them. And so what the course does is to provide a vision of what is and what is not co-production, and also how can co-production be brought to to realization, to implementation, well, none of the countries that are represented in the projects that we are discussing are particularly advanced when it comes to providing a framework for participation of citizens in the public affairs that are, up to the aspirations that we probably all share. But it's obvious that in cases where, our governments are, or there are profound democratic deficits, the challenges are even higher. So what the course proposes in somehow is to also focus on the small scale, on how can you introduce changes to how public services operate when it comes to your local community. How can you make sure that in a context where social ties are tighter, you can progress with different ideas that may represent an innovation on how things were done usually. And this may sound abstract, but in projects like Medtown, and in contexts like Palestine, we've found ways, together with our colleagues of PARC and PhD, Tamador just presented another course in this seminar. So we found ways to improve the way, for instance, in which waste management is being handled. We all know that in contexts where, like Palestine, managing waste, solid waste is a very big challenge, not only because of a lack of resources of public authorities to deal with it, but also because of the conditions imposed by occupation, by military occupation. Well, PARC and PhD have found ways to involve the community in the separation and the recycling of waste into profitable raw material that can be that can cover part of the costs of managing waste, and at the same time, let's say, reward all of the families that are participating in the management of this system. And this brings us to the other sort of innovative concept that the course proposes. And this concept is the concept of complementary currencies. A complementary currency is sort of special type of money, money that's issued by a group of people, a community, and that helps that community build stronger ties and become more resilient. There are many types of local or community currencies. The course reflects and provides with examples of community currencies across the world. There are such type of community currencies operating in basically all over the world: Africa, South America, North America, Europe, different parts of Asia. So we invite you to explore, because they are really inspiring initiatives that, when applied to public service delivery, can provide with very interesting results. The example that I was mentioning before is one of them. This system in Palestine is actually rewarding families who are separating correctly their waste at home with a sort of community currency that then can be used to reduce the cost of the local waste management fee, for instance. And so they can get a discount from the monthly bill that they have to pay for such utilities. But there are so many other formulas that have been explored, and in many cases successfully, that we invite you to take the course and research for yourself. I mean, none of these formulas by themselves can produce the sort of transformations that we all aspire to in our societies, but they are surely tools that we can embrace, and that we, by participating actively in and building ties together and cooperating, we can obtain very interesting results that may showcase what the way forward is for many other people. So, well, this is a course that I wanted to introduce to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hussein, and for all key speakers for their presentation of the 5 main courses. And now I will give the floor to the webinar facilitator from the Direct Transition, Cecilia and Robin, to summarize the 5 courses and the main comments from the key speakers, and opening the floor to any questions from the audience. The floor is you, Cecile and Robin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fadia, and thank you, everyone. It's great to hear directly from each partner, the actual stories, the actual context. And so this is exactly what we were hoping to happen today. So thank you for that. I've just put on the chat a link to each of the different courses on the platform. So just to clarify one thing, how, the question would be, so what next? What can I do now? So what you can do is take each one of these links. These are the direct links to each of the courses. So when you click on this link, if you're not registered on the platform, you can register, and then you can sign up for the course, and you will see a progress bar. You can download a PDF with a summary of the materials. And if you want to, in a way, sanction that you have taken the course, you take it to the end. There's a short quiz of about 10 questions. And when you pass this quiz, you can download a certificate. So this is a thing that you can, let's say, use in many different ways. So how can you use the courses? Maybe you want to send the course to someone who needs to learn the basic concepts. Myself, when I started interacting in these projects, not like Ruben, who is an expert in these matters, I didn't have a lot of expertise in some words. I didn't know what they meant. And I was a little bit embarrassed to ask questions. So that could be, if you have someone that you interact with, maybe because they're a civil servant that you want to interact more with, or maybe there's someone you're considering hiring, or someone who is a user, a beneficiary, anyone who could benefit from more knowledge is a great way to get the basic idea, basic definitions and concepts. So there's also something very interactive about it, as I said before, that you have questions to ask yourselves. And so you can send the link to the courses, or you could send also the introduction video. So these are 2 minutes, a very short presentation where we present the topics of the courses and a little bit what they're about and the format. There's a couple of images, so we've tried to make this a little bit attractive, so to speak. So that's just from my side a summary, a little bit of what is the format, who the course it could be for, and how they could be used. You could use them in a more linear way, or you can also use them going straight directly to one topic that you're interested in. You know, you can take the quiz, download the certificate, and, you know, even put this on your wall and, you know, make this a more formal thing, or have a more casual approach to it. So I'll just pass on the mic to Ruben now, if you have any remark, question, just to finish.
Yes. Yeah, you have already done some kind of a summarize. I just wanted to, maybe before giving back the word to the different speakers that we have heard today. Yeah, we have because we have already consumed much of the meeting time. But I would like, first of all, to thank again our speakers for the summarize that they have given. As Cecile mentioned before, the courses that we are promoting today are focusing not only on explaining what the different projects consist of, but also on providing a resource box, a toolkit with proposals, ideas, learnings, and to replicate the different experience we have heard about in other contexts. No? So what you, our different speakers today have shared are the key contents of each course. And now I just maybe would like to invite you with some final comments, and maybe I would ask you, or I would like to, I would ask you if you have something to say about who you think could be the potential users of the course, or who could benefit from the content. Also, on the other hand, I would like to ask you if you have some kind of thoughts for your final comments about, you think, what can be potentialities that you think that this course and this platform can open up for new partnerships and new collaborations. And by my side, I think that's all. And yeah, I give you the word back to different speakers to give some final comments or what you consider, Fadia. That's all by our side.
Thank you, Ruben. We have Laura raising hand. Yes, please, Laura. You have any question to the main speakers?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this session and introducing us to the different courses on this platform. I think it's very important to all the people who are working in the in this sector, and those who are willing to delve deeper into the sector. Specifically, I'm talking here on behalf of the Palestinian colleagues and those who are working in the Palestinian context. But I wanted to highlight that the courses and the content of the courses, I noticed that it's all in English, and the platform supports Arabic. Yani if you change to Arabic content, it supports that, but the courses are still not. I think if you want to reach out to a further and wider base, to those who can benefit from these courses, if you consider Arabic content, I think it would be good. And you can reach to the wider base, where some people who already have social enterprises and maybe social solidarity enterprises can actually benefit from that, because we are talking here about the larger base of the Palestinians. That's the only highlight I have, and thank you very much. I enjoyed looking at the courses, and of course we will be welcoming the idea of sharing it with our colleagues.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for your comments and feedback, and we will take it sure into consideration. I think that the transition is working on preparing the content in Arabic, for the courses. Anyone have any other questions, comments? Maybe Georgia? Or
no, I just wanted to add that the courses will be translated in Arabic and in Spanish.
Yes.
And we'll see in the future if we can also do it in French and other languages. But
Yes.
for the moment, yes, they are being translated in Arabic and Spanish.
Thank you, Georgia, and thank you all. Thank you for joining us today, and see you on our next final webinar, the 10th webinar. And thank you for joining us through during this period. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
See
Thank
you.
all.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for your efforts. Bye.